here tonight.
Stay put.
Jack, get up here.
Don't you do
Who are
it.
you gonna listen to, me or your dad?
What?
That's kind of easy. He's got a badge on.
Right?
We're all public servants, man.
Get close to us, we could be catching.
Hey, Jack,
Yeah.
your dad's a good guy.
The one good thing,
He
they don't
really is.
have public entities don't have to pay tax.
Of course I'm a good guy.
Yeah, obviously.
From Sniper's Ford, price of 46,000. New cars aren't cheap.
Oh, I need to tell you, I don't know if it was channel 13 or channel 8 at noon. They had a sighting of an elected official at the Trump.
So it's gonna look like this.
Mm.
Do you want to guess who it was?
First one, 75/6 would be
Well, they got chief law enforcement person,
this one -6.
Iowa.
This one
Elected
-6.
Iowa.
This one
Who's the chief law enforcement person for the
4,
state of Iowa?
5,
Brenna Burr,
Wow.
the attorney general.
6.
She
So
was
1,
at the Trump trial, standing behind Trump.
so we're looking for this.
J.D. Vance, you know, that guy. They all
You
came
want
to
your scratch bacon?
press conference, and J.D. Vance stepped in front of Brenna Burr, and she's kind of short, so she peeked out all behind
6 times. So do the first one.
Assholes.
I heard, I got one of my news alerts on my phone. 2 days ago, it said that there was a trial. Vance and Bird, there's a couple others.
Oh, yeah, there was, I'd say 4 or 5, and then more people behind it.
There were what, 5 names?
Yeah.
And Bird and Vance were the 2.
Yeah, there was a bunch of, then he stepped right in front of her. She moved to the side to make sure she got seen. Yeah, chief law enforcement officer for the state of Iowa, sticking up for Trump, who's broken about every law conceivable.
I'm still planning on writing it.
Let's go 75/6.
I will send it to you.
Okay.
Are you gonna? Hey. What? Rocking on. Did you see that big one that
I haven't seen it yet. I heard about it.
Are you gonna get that message?
If they give it to her, they gotta give it to me.
I'm gonna look at this one. This is going good. Mark.
I can even write it in Spanish.
So this is.
You do.
I got to walk around. I got 46 signatures. I gotta get.
Why are you saying
I know
yes?
Jay Packer.
Why am I saying yes?
So he's one with Black Dogs. This has been so years ago. At least 10 years. 12 years ago. He was out drinking one night. And he had a good friend of mine. He was sort of the talks to local and it's doctor. And he was stand up on the bar. So we go. And he steps up the thing, he orders whatever it was.
Okay. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello?
Yeah, he heard you.
White guy with a bike. Yeah, it's bad.
think he was pretty proud.
Your wife's brother. Yes, in the anyway, he was yeah, I felt my face. It's just so scared of me.
I was, so like his lunch. Boy, Bob Espanol.
That's not smart.
Yeah, I know, it's like, but it's huge. Yeah, I was out at OJ's. And the girls take the breaks and they sit at the counter and I'm sitting there and they know who I am. The older girls, ladies, young girls sitting and doing Spanish. They're talking Spanish. Nudge the see the girl and cry for her big
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
and they
Yeah, that's cute. Hello, how are you today?
What's up, guys?
Hey, dude.
Big fireman here today.
Yeah.
Two midnights.
I crossed.
That's the best way to get a hold of you. Give me a call when you get it. Hello. I've been going for this every week. Like you get a free week.
I've always done this. On TV, scheduled fights. Not just brawl. Okay, yeah, we did.
Yeah, there has been some other fights there too.
All right, well, good job getting that out. Good work. Yeah.
Hello. How are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
And then that is the consent agenda. Somebody that requests something. But I think she has to read it.
Oh, well, supposedly,
Yeah.
go for this every 3 weeks.
Having a Monday off. No, seriously. When I left you, I would
I don't know if they give a fuller explanation online. I've never looked at the agenda online. They might give a fuller explanation.
Click on those
hear us in the council chambers?
This is Barry, yes.
Thank you. Mark, can you hear us in the chambers?
Yes, I can.
On the good side,
Okay, thank you.
there's planning and so on.
Thank you.
One that they have here.
I got enough problems just getting the network. Yeah, Mary Cal. And how much do you pay for their cable stuff? But I mean, and then what you got from US Cellular, I mean, what's the combined bill?
I got all the seeds in, so it's fine.
I get it. Well, this might be cheaper like
In a shed. We have all kinds of.
You go first, and I'll go yet sooner or later. What are you smoking? Oh my God!
All right, 5:30. Let's do this.
Okay. Oh, it is. Compose yourself, Gary. Good evening. This is a call of the meeting to order. Our City Council of Marshall is meeting tonight. Today's date is May 13, 2024. The time is 5:30 p.m. and we are still at the council chambers, which is at 10 West State Street. Would those able join us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Kell,
Here.
Lottie Hoff,
Here.
Mitchell,
Here.
Nichols,
Here.
Schneider,
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Very good. We have a quorum. It is now time for public comment, and I have to read this proviso first, which is that members of the public may make comments on any item that was not on the agenda at this time. Approach the mic, state your name and address for the record. Limit your comments to 3 minutes unless I authorize longer. Direct your comments to the mayor and council as a whole. That means don't single out a single councilor or me. The mayor and councilors shall not engage in discussion or debate on items raised by members of the public, and no action may be taken on those items raised in public comments so that we may comply with the open meetings laws. There have been a few meetings where people have gotten up and thought that they could ask direct questions and expect answers during that time frame, and so this is to tell you it doesn't work that way. We'll just smile or ignore you. But then after that, the council and the mayor have a chance to make comments. So with the public comment open, I understand there may be one that you've been asked to handle.
Yep, I have a written comment that was submitted from Kevin Lewis, P.O. Box 1776, Carthage, North Carolina. He said, as a longtime journalist and professional researcher who will soon be a full-time resident of Marshalltown, I am proud of the support of the Marshalltown city officials have given to the Marshalltown Public Library and the library board. The officials have respected the high scholarly principles of the board members and the director. I do not support alternative facts journalism of the Epoch Times.
Thank you. The microphone is open now for other public comment.
Tim Bradbury, 12 North 10th Avenue. I called the county engineer and talked to him, but it's concerning seeing is it the county or the city on that old waterworks area where the curve where the flooding gets up to the bridge. And I wanted to know if we should maybe get more response to it. In the wintertime, I've always wondered about cars sliding off into the river there. There's no barricade between the waterworks and the bridge. But talking to the engineer, he said that it's very tough to do anything in that area without a bunch of approvals. But he suggested maybe a cable or something out there, but seeing the flood waters, if somebody would have a medical issue or if the water got too high before somebody got it barricaded, is there some way we can get some more response that we can get something over there to prevent something before it happens, whether it's a medical issue or somebody accidentally hits somebody, or whether it's wintertime or flooding or whatever, that I think I'd like to see us be preventive. But he said the bank is too shallow. I suggested cement barricades from like the cement company, but he said that weight would be too heavy, that eventually it might sink down and cause problems there. So the only thing would be is if I can get enough response to that somebody maybe able to put a cable or do something else to prevent something from happening over there. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm here. Hello, Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street, and this one's a little shorter this time. Personal note, there are now 3 pit bulls within 200 feet of my apartment. One in my apartment complex, one at the next door neighbor, and one directly across the street. You can imagine how happy I'm about that. On a more positive note, 5 dog at large violations last Thursday in the TR. Another positive, the Marshalltown Police Facebook page has a post that says dogs at large is a crime. Glad to see that, but we need more people on that post. My fiance went to the Animal Rescue League last week to donate some items. While we were there, we visited the cats and dogs up for adoption. There were 7 pit bulls and 1 Cane Corso, which is a bigger, scarier, 20-pound heavier version of a pit bull, up for adoption. I was in shock. 8 people have surrendered or left pit bulls abandoned. This is 8 pit bulls that the Animal Rescue League is attempting to put back in our city. I had an incident with the pit bull next door last week. He was stuck on a chain link fence trying to get out and got hung up by his collar trying to hang himself. So I called the police and they arrived with the Animal Rescue League. I questioned the Animal Rescue League lady about the high number of pits at the ARL, and she agreed they do have a high number. I asked about the Cane Corso. She says he's a sweetheart. We took him to some schools to visit students. My reply is, are you insane? With all the articles I've read to you the past year, where pit bulls are nice for years and then suddenly snap and start mauling and sometimes killing both children and adults, this is the one they decide to take to school. They have at least 10 other dogs of nonviolent breeds they could have and should have taken. If this Cane Corso snapped, this employee would not have been able to handle him. This could have been catastrophic. A Cane Corso in a room full of children, violent, looking for victims to attack. Maybe not, but why take the chance? Marshalltown has had 1 serious bite accident. We do not need another one. I know you might be sitting there and say, well, Jim Shaw is exaggerating this. It's not that big a deal. Ask the child who got bit and his family if it's a big deal. I extend an invitation to the mayor and the councilman. Go to the Animal Rescue League. Go with an open mind. If you want, I'll go with you. Just call me. Then as you go down the aisle of dogs, imagine that dog loose in a town with the citizens you've sworn to serve and protect. Better yet, how would you like to get in the cage with him while you're there? Now ask yourself if I'm exaggerating. I just received this afternoon, Friday, May 10th, a woman and her son dog were attacked by a pit bull that got loose from a neighbor's yard in North 15th Street. Not injured thanks to neighbors intervening, but she and her dog are very traumatized. She is contacting the police and is waiting to see if there's any charges filed. There may be further updates on this at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mic is still open.
Sarah Rosenblum, Marshalltown Public Library Director. I actually have something on behalf of Senator Grassley, so I don't know if that counts towards my 3 minutes. I'm just joking. Senator Grassley will be holding an open meeting, not himself. His staff will be at the library on May 23rd from 2:30 to 3:30, and this listening post is essential for the proper execution of the senator's official duties as our elected representative. These meetings allow everyday Iowans to make sure their voices are heard in Washington and to continue to help Senator Grassley fight for issues and policies important to his constituents. Another benefit of these meetings is allowing Iowans who are having problems or issues with federal agencies to talk directly with a representative of the senator's office. So he's asked us to share this information, and I can leave this one here if you want, and then I have one at the library.
Let's put it on the table over there, what people can see when they go out.
Okay. And then I just want to share, I was interviewed by some students at the high school for their National History Day project, and one of their themes was about the Patriot Act in public libraries. For those of you who don't know, after 9/11, the Patriot Act was passed, and there were ramifications for public libraries and confidentiality. So I got this lovely note. Dear Miss Rosenblum, we greatly appreciate your insight and interview. We used the interview to show how the Patriot Act affected everybody. The judges really liked your perspective in our documentary. At state, we got 3rd place. This means we're alternates if first or second cannot make it. Thank you, Preston, Parker, Luke, and Gavin. So it was a pleasure to work with these young people. They were really engaged, and it was just a really great thing. And boy, the high school's got very nice stationery. So anyway, so I was happy to do it, and I'll leave this over there. So.
Very good. Thank you. Public comment time is still open if anybody stands up to come to the mic. Otherwise, we'll go to mayor comments and other comments.
Hi, Ray Mitchum, 1402 South 3rd Avenue. I just want to be brief on congratulating the council again on allowing the 4th Ward vote for Al Hoop's place. As we all know, he was a great person who had the 4th Ward representation for a long time. And all of us who are in the 4th Ward appreciate the opportunity to actually vote for a new council person. And I know that was an option that you all had, and I appreciate you taking that option so the 4th Ward people can make a vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Lonnie Hoagland, 1408 East Main. I would like to just say thank you for your time that you guys invest in our community. It's a thankless job. You get lots of negativeness instead of the positiveness when you're trying to do something. You're just trying to do in your own body what you think is right. Lots of different little comments that I can say to help. Someone always wants to complain, but if you're going to complain, have a solution. The 3-minute time frame for a person to talk is a shame that they have to ramble it in really, really quick to get it in here, but you don't want them to ramble on for 10 minutes either. Maybe a 3-minute time frame could be raised to a 5-minute, but hold it at 5 minutes, and it's 5 minutes, that's it. Maybe 3, and maybe 3 at the end of the meeting, because if someone thinks of something through the meeting, oh darn it, I should have thought about it at the beginning. I'm just saying, here's a problem, here's a solution. I don't know. I just adamantly say it's a shame a person has to feel terrified to come up here and talk to you guys. You try your best to make it friendly, but it is what it is. It's a important part of the business of the community. It's run by, I believe it's parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Orders, and all that type of stuff. But if we could keep it a friendly thing, but yet solid business too, where a person's not scared to go talk to the principal. Try and do the best to make everybody friendly. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. On to the mayor, council, and administrator comments. Does any councilor have any comments? Seems like we're lopsided tonight.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I'd like to give a shout out to the Impact group, the Morristown Police Department, and all the associated groups that helped. We had a homeless situation on North First Avenue. It was a very complicated situation, and Impact hung in there and made sure that things got cleaned up. People found a home. And like I said, it's not just a situation of just kicking someone out. You can't be there. You have to find out what's going on, what happened, trying to get their feet back under them to get them going again. So that's just a kudos to the Impact, the Morristown Police Department. I know a lot of other agencies and some private businesses were involved to get the thing taken care of. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Trails Inc., I'd like to say, has two upcoming events. One will be a week from Thursday on May 23rd at the MAC. It's an informational session and fundraiser for a grant opportunity that's become available. There's a rather short timeline, so if you're interested, $50, you can go to trailsinc.org. 100% of the proceeds go toward Trails Inc. And then there's a family fun ride on Thursday, May 30th, the last day of school on the trails. There'll be free dinner available at Grimes Farm, and then a little scavenger hunt for stamps on the trail. So encourage anybody who's the trail, not just families, but anybody, to come out, get a free dinner, and have some fun on the trails.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, for the, would you like to have any administrative comments if I defer to you? No, okay, I know you're going to be handling a few other things later. Well, I'd like to talk about just a couple things, 3-4 things. Our tennis team made it to state. That was kind of cool. We've got some tracksters going there. The golf team's been doing well. The high school had their awards banquet. If you ever think things are not looking rosy for our future, go to the awards banquet or meet those kids there at National Honor Society. We just got some really fine students here. And then I started the day over at the Orpheum Theater. What used to be the Orpheum Theater is now owned by the school district. It was the statewide competition for the state challenge for esports, and that place was buzzing. And that's the new thing out at the college, the new thing at the high school. There were teams here from Iowa City, Okoboji, Williamsburg. I forget where some of the other schools that were here, and of course Morristown is always well represented here, and we have the national champion for Mario. So today's proclamation was that for the day the town's known as Mario Town, not Marshalltown. And then I wanted to address this too. I know that the nuisance things have been a hot topic lately, especially at this microphone, and with a lot of emails and things like that. We get weekly reports here about how many cases are opened and how many are closed, and I think the report this morning was over 70 cases opened. The last week the report was over 50 cases opened, so we've had over 120 cases opened. We only have one person who's a full-time staff person to handle these things, and so the public just has to be aware. We are working on it. I'm still taking names for those that would serve on the NAC or NARC or NAET have been the acronyms suggested for the name of this committee to help figure out what are the best practices and help our staff process those. So my email is still available online and open for other suggestions. One of you in the room is somebody I have not contacted, but I intend to see if she would serve on that committee. So I wanted to address that as well. Okay, that's all for those things. If anybody wants to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
That carried, and rather than read those like we used to, for those of you who used to attend these things, I think we just saved ourselves 15 or 20 minutes. And just so you know, Alicia, our clerk here, and I always have a bet, not always, but lately we've had a bet about how long the meeting's going to last tonight. So we'll see who's we'll see who's right. She's going sooner than I am, and maybe in part she doesn't have to read all that stuff. All right, on to item G, which is reports. So we have two of those, starting with our Marshtown Police Department annual report.
Good evening, Mike Tupper. It's my honor and pleasure to serve you as your police chief for almost 13 years now. So I'm here to talk to you about our 2023 annual report. And it's a great time to be talking about the Marshtown Police Department because this is National Police Week, May 12th through the 18th. We're celebrating Police Week this week, and there's an open house ongoing right now at the Police Fire Building. And so as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to head down there and leave this meeting early, if you will excuse me.
And it's going until 7 o'clock, I think.
It's going until 7 o'clock, yes, sir. And there's cookies. Most important thing, there's cookies. So we had a busy year at the Marshtown Police Department. And tonight I handed out the binded report, but you should have an emailed report from me as well. That report will be placed on the website. If it's not already there, it probably is already there today. And I will make sure that the media receives it before I go home tonight as well. Another busy year. So this is my annual reminder that we have 42 police officers. That's our budgeted strength, 42 police officers. We have work for 50. I've been telling you that for almost 13 years. That has not changed. We still have work for 50. Our police department is very busy. There's a lot of things going on, and we spend a lot of time and effort not only addressing criminal issues, which you expect of us, but we spend a lot of time and effort in community outreach, trying to address quality of life issues, trying to build positive relationships in our community. And we are blessed to have a lot of community support. And I think the staff has nothing to do with me, has everything to do with the people working in the police department, has done a really good job of building support. Building legitimacy, being transparent, and those are all high priorities for us. We still ask police officers to do too much. It's not just in Marshalltown, it's across this country. We're asking our police officers to do too much. I think I'm at the end of my career. As you know, I'm planning to retire at the end of the year. I think you're going to see a lot of changes in this profession. I think that we're probably going to have more civilians working in police departments like ours, addressing issues that police officers now take care of that maybe they shouldn't take care of. I think we may have to do that because it's becoming harder every year to hire sworn police officers. It's very difficult to compete. I am still amazed at the money I see thrown around here in Iowa in police departments in the metro area trying to hire quality people. I don't think that's sustainable. And I think it's very hard for a community like Marshalltown to try to keep up with that. And obviously we cannot. So we're going to have to be innovative. Marshalltown is innovative. We're built on that, right? And we're going to have to find ways to be innovative here in our police department. The primary challenges that we continue to face, and you've heard me talk about it before, recruitment and retention of quality employees. We're hiring police officers. We've been trying to find a parking enforcement officer for, gosh, it's probably going on 2 years now. It's hard to find people. I think building strong community relationships through trust and transparency remains job one for us every day, and budget challenges. And all three of those things are related. Okay? The budget impacts everything that I do, and I'm going to give you the annual reminder. What is my community outreach budget? 0. We don't have a budget for community outreach, but yet we have a very successful community outreach program, and we're doing the best we can on shoestrings. So I'm going to add another priority: wellness. My profession has done a horrible job in the 32 years that I've worked in it of taking care of each other and taking care of the people that work in it. So wellness is a priority, especially for the younger generation coming into the workforce. More work-life balance is important, and I think we need to do a better job of taking care of each other. So this year, we've implemented a pilot project where we're trying to address mental and emotional wellness. It's important for your police officers, and so we're working to address that and provide more resources. We're also having some important discussions about fatigue. Fatigue is a big problem in the public safety service for police and fire, EMS, 911. A lot of people working in these professions that are tired for a lot of different reasons. So we're having some positive discussions about how we address fatigue and meet the officers with that important need. I think we've done a fabulous job of keeping up with technology. We really have. Wyatt Shalengalski was recognized as our Employee of the Year, and there was a great article in the paper about him this past weekend, and you're going to get to meet Wyatt here at I think the June 10th meeting is what the plan is. But he mentioned in the article that we're doing a great job keeping up with technology and equipment and making sure the officers have everything that they need. We need to keep doing that. It's a recruitment and retention strategy. It makes it easier for our police officers to be effective and efficient with their work. And you all have done a great job supporting that, and we appreciate that. None of this is getting cheaper, though. It's getting more expensive. And on June 24th, I will be coming to talk to you, discussion item about body cameras and car cameras, because we have to make an upgrade, and we're going to have some important decisions to make. But this technology is no longer optional equipment. Have to have it to do our jobs. Your police officers will not go to work every day without a body camera. They will not do it. Got to have them. Okay, so we have some important discussions to make there, or to have there. We've done a good job flock safety cameras, the public safety cameras. You're going to get an update on June 24th from Captain Stevenson about flock. Great program. It's already helping us solve crime. It's improving the efficiency of our police department and the effectiveness of our police department. And I have some great news. We finally got our DOT permits today. Finally, after 5 months, we got the DOT permits. And so the remaining cameras, I was driving down Highway 14 today. I think some of them have already been put up, and they should be operational here pretty soon. Okay, that corridor is going to be important to us with those cameras, and it's going to help us solve crime. Drug crime is something that I am concerned about. I have been concerned about. I think we need to do more. Drug crime drives everything that we do in the police department in terms of criminal issues. You hear me talk frequently. It's in my weekly report to you. I give you the numbers on burglaries and thefts. That's driven by drug crime. A lot of people that get involved with those crimes, they're chasing $20 so they can go buy some drugs. Okay, so this year we have, in fact, starting on June 3rd, we're going to have another investigator devoted full time to nothing but drugs. We're doubling our effort with drugs. We think it's important. It's going to make a difference. I'm not adding staff. I'm just reallocating some staff. But we're going to have a full-time person working hand in hand daily with the Drug Task Force to address drug crime. And I think I'm excited about it. I think it's going to pay off in the end. but there's still more work to be done. And if you're inclined, you can talk to our state and federal elected representatives about the importance of drug task forces in maintaining these important services and resources, because the funding every year that I've been a police officer has been decreasing for drug task forces. There's not enough funding to go around. And I'm concerned that we may lose some of these task force entities moving forward into the future because of a funding issue. And that would be a shame. It's going to lead to more problems. Impact. Mike, thank you for mentioning that. Funding is running out. We're down towards the end. You're going to have to find a way to keep that program going. We are exploring federal grants, but we have to keep this program going. Gary Thompson is a big reason that we have Impact today. He is a big advocate for that. And I still remember the meeting, 2020, September 2020. We were asking for 25,000, hoping to get 15, and Gary said, I'll give you 150. And you all voted for it. Thank you. We need to keep that going. You might be surprised the number one complaint that I hear on a daily basis, because I just got done talking to you about drugs, it's speeding. I hear about it 3-4 times a day. We hear all about it on social media. Speeding is a concern in our community. And so that's a good problem to have from my seat, because I'm not hearing about violent crime, and thankfully we don't have a lot of violent crime in our community. But speeding is still something that we need to address. Speed cameras have helped. Our patrol officers are doing everything that they can to spend more time on traffic enforcement duties. But as I mentioned, we have 42 police officers budgeted, and we have work for 50, so sometimes it's hard. But speeding is a big concern in our community, so we're going to continue to address those issues. I really want to thank you and the community for the tremendous support that you show public safety in this community, police department. The support that you've shown me, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. And the public support in our community, I think, is special, because you don't see it in every community. I think we are fortunate. And lastly, I want to thank our staff. We have some tremendous people working for the Marshalltown Police Department. We have some great leaders. We have some tremendous young police officers that we brought into the workforce. It's hard to find police officers, harder than ever, but the ones that we have found, outstanding. The future is bright. So I want to thank our staff for the great things that they do every day to make sure that our community is safe, and to work with the community and make Marshalltown the best that it can possibly be. So you have the report. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and appreciate your time.
Are there any questions or comments up here? Okay. Thank you, Chief, for what you do. The outreach has just been phenomenal.
Thank you, sir.
And our next report, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hello, Council. My name is Christopher Cross. I'm currently serving as your fire chief. And I have submitted Chief Ryerson's last fire annual report to you in your packets for 2023. I just want to hit some highlights for you in the packet. Obviously we had a retirement. Chief Ryerson transitioned out of the organization with almost 10 years of service. He successfully made it to where his new home is, and I can report that he is happy and healthy and enjoying civilian life, so that's good. In 2023, we did 3,476 runs for calls for service, fire and EMS. That's out of one station with 2 pieces of fire apparatus in service every day. Our fire response times average for the year was 7 minutes and 40 seconds, so we could get to anybody's door in the city in an average time of 7 minutes 40 seconds. That's any time of day, any time of night, whatever. For the fire side of things. On the EMS side, the average response time was 6 minutes to anybody's doorstep. That's a decent time. I'm happy with that. Our fire loss, total dollar fire loss decreased by half in 2023. We had 17 less structure fires than we did in the previous year. It's approximately $200,000 of total dollar fire loss compared to $400,000 the year before, which is good. We have 17 less structure fires, which is good too. The overlapping incidents, which I report weekly to council for activity, is still a concern for us. Over the course of 2023, we had 858 runs that were either doubled up or tripled up. And what that means is, how that equates to two different facets of the problem, how it equates to the department is that we take longer to get to places when we have multiple calls in the queue. If we have 2 or 3 runs happening at the same time, it takes us longer to positively dispose of the call, meaning go and provide service to whoever needs whatever they need. Secondly, the longer that we are out of service on multiple calls, we've been stung a couple of times over the years where we've been out on medical calls 2 or 3 deep, and then a structure fire comes in, there's nobody to man the scene for the structure fire. So this has been probably the drumbeat that Chief Ryerson has been talking to you about since he's been the fire chief here, is that we have been on the conquest to try to add staff at some point in time. We were on the trajectory or the glide slope to be able to do like a SAFER grant through the federal government for staffing. That necessitates the city's buy-in and the assumption of a phased-in salary over 4 years. 100% cover, 75% cover, 50% cover, and so on and so forth, until the city assumes the salary of the employee. Well, since this last budget outlook, that was not possible, so we withdrew all of those efforts, and we haven't been pursuing that. It's a concern, and I'd like to revisit that with you should I have the opportunity to do it as the formal fire chief in the future. Our inspections division, we've increased the output and productivity of our inspections division. A lot of our commercial buildings are being inspected. Our permits are happening as they should. We have a very good relationship with our vendor. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of interaction back and forth between the fire marshal and the contract inspectors. They do a great job. They take our input. They play our playbook the way that we like them to, and we have no qualms with that. Some of the things that I look forward to, or I look out into the landscape of fire and EMS in the county, there's been a lot of conversation on the EMS front where they are having, there's turmoil or consternation on how to provide EMS to the county. There's legislation that could be pending at some point in time for EMS as an essential service. That's a county level legislation initiative that has to be taken and voted in at the county level to be able to do a tax levy for EMS and make it essential, just like it is with fire. Under state law, we're required to provide fire protection to the cities and townships, but EMS is not required in Iowa code. I believe it should be, and that's another mission that the fire department takes on. In solving that big picture problem, it will probably take conversations across agency lines, across municipalities, and it will probably take a lot of collaboration to be able to fix, because I don't think that any one entity can fix the problem by themselves, because the problem is big and the problem will cost money to fix, to be able to staff with. And I think I think the only option out of that being dropped in the middle of that forest, the path is collaboration. And I think I'd be happy to bring that to you when some ideas present themselves. I'm excited to present those to you. Like Chief Tupper alluded to earlier, we do have a wellness initiative within the fire department too. There's a lot of attention paid to peer fitness and peer wellness, dealing with cumulative trauma, both physically and emotionally and psychologically from the things that we encounter during the course of our business. Our local union group is active with other local groups, developing peer assistance groups to be able to talk to firefighters if they need to. We're also developing some cardiac screening. About 43% of all firefighter deaths that occur in the line of duty annually are attributed to heart attack, stroke, overexertion, cardiac-related type things. So we're trying to put together a wellness program that we can budget for, that is dealing with our the most at-risk employees, those that are over 40 with at least 10 years on the job, and then 50 years old and plus, because we have a good mix of those employees throughout the ranks of the fire department. We're a department in transition right now. We've lost our leader. We'll be gaining a new leader. Our company officers, our lieutenants and captains are fantastic, and they've absorbed the excess responsibility that has been asked of them. Our firefighters are a consistent product. They are fantastic and just, they're aggressive and fit, and they are just really good at their jobs. And it makes my job as a leader easy to know that I don't have to worry about the little things on the fire ground. I can think about the big things and steering the ship where it needs to go. So I'm very thankful to be in this position. And my report, or the report, is in your packet, and I'd be happy to answer any specific questions that you may have at this time.
Any questions or comments up here? Good report. We got it by email too.
Fantastic.
Had some good photos in there, good statistics.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. On to category H, resolutions. What's our first one of the three to address tonight?
Resolution 2024-101, establishing a general insurance storm, wind, and hail deductible reserve fund.
I'll call for a motion first.
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
And let's do discussion before we vote.
There we go. Okay, thank you. The council at the last meeting heard that we have got some changes that the institution of insurance has been bringing towards the cities now that we have such huge catastrophic storms and so forth. And I had proposed a reserve for those deductibles that will be almost catastrophic in their own way. I did put a memo together with some things that Diana and I had talked over as far as how we could start that particular process based upon current cash that's available. And then we also proposed in this memo the amount going forward. Again, it's based around the governmental, parks, rec, those kinds of things, streets, versus the utilities having a separate reserve. The reserve dollars would stay in each individual fund. However, they would be earmarked as reserved for that kind of deductibles should they ever have to use it again. Knock on wood that we wouldn't have to use that money. The dollars would be invested and returned to the ownership of that particular reserve. So it's not like it's just money sitting there. It will be invested should it come to fruition that we would have to use it.
Thank you. Any council comments or questions about this? Any public comments about it? You may win. Roll call.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
That carried. Very good. What's our second one?
Resolution 2024-102, approving a moratorium of permits for accessory solar panel arrays.
Or is
Move
it
for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion on this one.
This is being brought to the council as the Planning and Zoning Commission has been reviewing various aspects of the popularity of the solar panels and some of the objections that have been placed concerning placement of the panels, in particular the in-ground panels that are being used. So the board is asking the council to pass a resolution just halting the permitting process until they have been able to bring you recommendations and have the public hearings that are required for adoption of a new resolution. They have been meeting every week or every 2 weeks because they know the earnesty of getting this kind of thing taken care of. But on the other hand, they don't want to be in a position where people have to take down what they originally had thought would be okay. So we're asking for the moratorium. The moratorium will be released after the council has satisfactorily approved a new ordinance, and then there will be another resolution stopping the moratorium. And this is again on accessory buildings of the arrays, which is the sole target. If someone wants to put an array on their roof, that's not a problem at all. We're just looking at the in-ground arrays at this point.
Council comments or questions?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
Cindy, are we looking at industrial, commercial, mixed use, and residential? Or are we looking at just residential?
At this point, I believe that it's all facets, and we're getting clarification from legal counsel on that aspect of it. But it would be all in-ground.
So you didn't get that confirmation before the meeting tonight?
No, I
right?
did not.
Okay. Thank
Other-
you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You bet. Other questions or comments?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, in looking at the zoning requirements, I can see it being complicated enough. I think we want to give our zoning board adequate time to properly address it and not slap something together.
Anyone else?
Your Honor, for me?
You may.
Yes, what does that have to do with the 2 solar arrays that were put up without permits?
The permits were ultimately issued because, again, there was no prohibition or any conflict with the current existing zoning. So as a result, that was one of the reasons why the discussion has been expedited, to avoid that situation.
Thank you.
Anyone else up here? Otherwise, it's open for public comment about this one. See anybody jumping up to the mic, so I would like to thank planning and zoning because they really have taken this on. There are I shouldn't say discrepancies or inconsistencies, but it isn't easy reading to try to figure out what those codes are. It's a new day, a new thing going on in cities our size all around the state, and so they've taken it upon themselves to study it and come back with us with the best practice and what they recommend for things like this. And it was one of those in-ground things that got everybody's attention. I think there was a picture of it in the local paper that indicated how visible it is. And so it's kind of the new thing we need to address. And then I'd like to specifically shout out to John Boston. I just about didn't appoint him again. I figured he'd been doing this for so many years that I wanted to give him a break, honestly. But his institutional knowledge of serving on this Planning and Zoning Commission for decades is instrumental, and I think he's the one that's really digging into it the most. So, John, if you're listening, thank you for what you're doing on this. It's really important for us as a city going forward. Okay, well, if there's no other discussion, and I'll shut up because it's not fair for me to delay this any longer than I should.
Just one more question.
Sure, why not?
So this would go, if we vote this, if we approve this tonight, this goes into effect as soon as it's published in the paper?
No, it would be upon signature of the mayor because it's a resolution, not an ordinance.
Okay.
It's just a temporary stay on those permits.
All right, thank you.
I doubt any will be granted before that happens, and that could happen pretty fast tomorrow. Okay, roll call.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. And our last resolution.
Resolution 2024-103 of support for the City of Marshalltown Trails, Inc., the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundations, and the Hardin County Trails Commission to submit a joint application for a federal active transportation infrastructure investment program grant for the completion of a 34-mile Iowa River's Edge Trail.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on this one.
I'll start it off if I may, Your Honor.
You may.
The city has a really unique opportunity here to join forces with everybody from Hardin County down to Marshall County to get a federal grant in the amount of about $19 million to construct the bike path and all of the amenities that would be able to go through each of the communities in that path. The majority of the dollars would come from federal funding. However, there is a large component that will be using contributions and donations and the number of fundraisers that the committees are currently planning. So with that, I'll yield to the council or mayor that would like to have further information.
Okay, I'll ask for council comment or questions first.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Yes, who in Hardin County area, there's approximately 24 bridges that will have to be constructed. Who will be responsible for that? Will that be the burden put on the taxpayers of Marshalltown?
No, sir.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a few points of clarification. So the total project is about $19 million. The federal grant being applied for is $12 million. And so the remaining $7 million will come from grants already awarded, cash on hand at different organizations, and then a large fundraising effort that is underway. And so the construction would be covered by those $19 million raised, how they are. This is just for the administration of the grant that the city would be doing.
Thank you. Other?
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks. Other council questions or comments?
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
This is an incredible opportunity for the city of Marshalltown. If you were to ask anybody, probably, the completion of this bike path would be not in my lifetime. And we have this opportunity that, gosh, it could possibly be done a lot quicker. So I'm all in favor of it. It provides a large economic impact to the city of Marshalltown also when everything gets hooked up. So thank you, Your Honor.
Anyone else up here? Any public comment on this one? Oh, I can't help myself. But we're going pretty fast. I think it was Mason City that just got a significant grant that included recreational trails as part of it. So the state, the Iowa Economic Development Office, has recognized the economic impact of having this sort of thing. Yeah, it is. Well, go to Madrid or any of the towns or cities along the High Trestle Trail or the River Trail. Yeah, you'll see what it means. And locally, I think the Trails Inc. is upwards of over $4 million raised privately. And I'm assuming part of that will be part of the matching grant that's required for this sort of thing to have the federal government help us. So, I'll shut up. Does staff need direction on this one? I think it does.
We have a motion and a second on the table, so we're ready for roll call.
I'm already thinking I'm in the discussion items. Let's call the roll.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie-Hoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. That is pretty exciting, truly. Okay, now on to discussion items. And the first one is the neighborhood improvement proposal for 411 West Lynn Street.
Yes, Your Honor. The city had the property for sale at 411 West Lynn Street through an RFP for a neighborhood improvement project. We received one proposal, and that was included in the packet. And the proposal is to move a single-family dwelling that is currently located at 110 West Lynn Street to this lot at 411 West Lynn. The moving and construction costs are estimated at $50,000, and the bid on the lot itself is $1,000. So if the council would like to proceed with this proposal, we'll bring forward a resolution to set a public hearing and to approve a real estate agreement to convey the property. The real estate agreement would have a requirement that the property be ready for occupancy within 24 months. And the person who submitted the proposal is here if the council has any questions.
And this is one of the properties on the library, the
Yes.
block the library's on? Okay.
Correct.
Got it. All right, well, let's start with discussion up here. Anybody wish to address it or have any questions first? And if not, let's ask for public comment.
Hello, Craig Harbedian, president of Lynn Street Properties. I'm up here just to answer any questions you have. If you don't remember sort of the situation, I came up to council a couple years ago for another piece of property related to this project. There's a couple houses that are on the property of the library. The houses are actually owned by the Friends of the Library, and the library's been trying to construct on that property for a couple years now. Expanding the library is one idea, and I know that they wanted to build a garage for the mobile bookmobile, and this would be a great location for those. Unfortunately, the houses are in the way, and demolishing the houses would cost upwards of $80,000. And this is one way, by moving the houses, that we can remove them from the property, put them somewhere else on a vacant lot in the city, and get them back up onto the tax rolls and get a family into each of these homes. So a couple years ago, we purchased one piece of property that's just 3 blocks away from the current property, which makes it very easy to move the house to. And I saw this property come up, 411 West Lynn Street, which is catty corner from the other property, which would make it also very, very easy to move. So with these two in hand, we can begin doing foundation excavation and building. And then after that, we would begin with the moving of the houses project, which we're looking at doing this fall. And then after that, there's some renovations that need to happen. There's also, there's always going to be some plaster that cracks during the move. So we're going to have some wet plaster work that needs to happen. Some HVAC system probably needs to get renovated. I know we'll probably have to replace the air conditioning compressor unit that's outside. And then there's also some aesthetic things that probably need to happen to make it a really, really attractive home. But I think this is a win-win situation for the city and for the library and for the Friends. The company's not looking to, or I am not looking to make a whole lot of money on this. This is something I really want to do to support the community, support the library, and just preserve some really neat old homes. There's these old 1920s, I believe, prairie-style homes that normally would just get knocked down. And you can't build a home like that anymore for not some exorbitant amount of money. And that's the other problem, too, with some of these vacant lots on the north side of town, that if you were to do new construction, it would cost a lot of money. And I doubt you could sell those properties to make up or make profit on that new construction. So it's one of the few ways that we can use some of these vacant lots here in town. So if council or Mr. Mayor have any questions, I'm willing to answer them.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Just basically a comment. This is a great project. I'm also kind of a sucker for old craftsman-style houses and that. You can't build them anymore that way, and it's kind of nice to see a house repurposed this way and then getting it back on tax rolls, because we've been knocking down a lot of houses. It's kind of nice to be able to save a few that are worth saving. So thank you very much for the project.
Your Honor, if I may? Can you give us a livability date when you'll have available for tenants to move? I don't know if you're selling these or renting them, doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you'll have occupants for 406 and 411.
So like I said, the plan is to do foundation construction this summer and then move the houses in the fall. So we should be able to look at maybe occupancy next year. Like I said, there's some aesthetic things that need to be updated. One of the homes, for some reason, has wood paneling on every vertical surface. I'm not sure why someone did that, but they did. So there's things like that need to happen. One of the delays, if you're wondering about delays from the previous purchase and moving, a lot of it had to do with contractors. So this is right after the pandemic, and trying to find contractors. I first looked out of town, and a lot of them said, "I got enough work wherever I am. I don't want to go to Marshalltown." I was really, really lucky to find that Cyril Diorio is in town, and he's more than willing to help out as a general contractor on this project. And of course, Kevin Freneau of house moving fame is here in town, and he's on board with the project as well, which is an amazing thing that Marshalltown has a company that moves houses. I just still can't believe that.
The only thing I would suggest is that you get on our agenda again to give you an extension on the first one.
Yes. So
Sooner than later, so you're not into that, then we take the house from you.
yes, I know. So that was something that I believe we discussed, that we wanted to finish up this business first before looking at that piece of business.
You know, if this goes well, there's this big white house on West Main Street.
Yeah,
I get Ferno and Ciro.
I'm trying to just do one thing at a time. Let's
Sorry.
let's not bite off more than we can chew here.
Okay. Any other council comments? Any public discussion about this one? Okay, well, I don't think you need staff direction on this one. I think the consensus is that's just a wonderful project for everybody concerned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion to accept the proposal?
Your Honor, I would move that we accept the proposal as presented.
Second.
Roll call. Thank you.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. That passed. Thanks for reminding me. I may have to have you start giving me little cheat sheet notes to ask for a motion on here. All right, number 2, request for a proposal for 20 East Main Street.
Good evening, Heather Thomas. I'm following up on an item that Administrator Gaw brought to you guys back in December related to the RFP for 20 East Main Street, most recently known as the Angels Building. At that meeting, there were several council members who wanted some additional information on lead-based paint and asbestos in the property. I've included in my memo kind of an outline of what is in the building. Related to lead-based paint, we have an estimate of about $16,000 for interim controls or $27,000 for permanent controls. City staff are not recommending doing anything on either of those items. The location of the lead-based paint and the hazard that lead-based paint is not something that would be a good financial move for the city to go in and remediate. Anybody that goes in to redevelop the property is likely going to be taking most of those surfaces out anyways. And with lead-based paint, it has to do with the percentage of lead in the material. So if you take off the trim that has lead-based paint on it, it can go to the landfill at no additional cost at that time than they would have for just removing the trim. So as we go to asbestos, there is asbestos in the property. An estimate to abate that right now is $38,000. That one again is a little bit less clear cut than lead-based paint, but our recommendation is right now not to go in and abate that for some of the similar reasons. Some of the pipe wrap material and those kind of things on the old sprinkler system in the basement, there's a good chance that a developer would be taking out that pipe, taking out the boiler, so it would not necessarily be the best financial, and if you look at the total cost of just removing the abatement pieces of it as opposed to the entire items itself. That's really, in particular, related to the mezzanine. There's asbestos tile in the mezzanine. For those of you that have been in the building, it makes me nervous standing on the mezzanine. The mezzanine just needs to come down from a structural standpoint. So it would not make sense to go in and abate that. So we are not recommending doing either of those items. However, we do have included in the memo opportunities for potential funding for the developer if they do go this route. And with that, we've also included a draft RFP for the process to dispose of it. We're looking at a 2-stage process where the first one is receiving letters of interest. And from there, we'll bring it back and request full proposals from the selected few at that time. With that, I'll open it up for any discussion.
Any discussion up here?
Your Honor, if I may.
Okay.
Heather, correct me, and I don't know this, I really don't know. I know a residential homeowner can dispose of asbestos himself, he or herself. Can a commercial owner dispose of asbestos themselves and not have to have a professional come in?
This is not my area of expertise, but my understanding is that from a commercial standpoint, anytime you're doing a commercial renovation, you are required to have a certified asbestos removal.
So we would be passing on the $38,000 to whoever buys it.
That would be a possible situation. That does also open up some additional funding, though, that it is in the building to that potential developer.
However, they won't know that when they're writing their RFP to buy the building.
That is correct.
Are you looking for staff direction, or do you kind of have it in terms of we're not spending the money unless somebody moves to do that?
Confirmation to proceed with issuing the RFP tomorrow, and then we have a 4-week proposed timeline for receiving them back.
That direction, any other comment up here or out in the public?
I'll make a motion that we proceed with the RFP.
I'll second.
Any discussion up here or out there? Roll call.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Very good. That carried. Staff has the direction, and thanks for all the work. This building has taken a lot of staff time up to this point, too, so nice to have something going out. All right, our third out of 4 is amendment of commercial revitalization plan. Cindy, I'll bet you're taking the lead on this one.
Yes. The urban revitalization plan, as we spoke at a couple of meetings ago, needs to be updated to come in compliance with the House File 718 that was passed a year ago. While working with bond counsel, we found that there were an array of amendments that have been applied to this particular economic development plan. Right now, there's 3 different zone areas and so on and so forth. And so the recommendation from bond counsel was that we would restate and include the changes to the restatement document so that when future staff or developers want to know what is available, it's going to be all in one place. This has been since 1980s that these different things have happened, of which some of them I was guilty of.
All in the name of progress, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, floor is open for discussion about it.
Your Honor. So what you're asking, Cindy, is you're going to clean this all up, bring it back to us, and we're going to vote it in?
The council wants to go through the restatement process. If you do not want to go through the restatement process, then we'll just go ahead and amend it to be in compliance with House File 718.
Let's just go through the restatement process.
Agree with that. We don't want the same kind of deal we have in zoning right now with the solar.
I'll make a motion that we go through reinstatement.
I'll second.
Very good. Any further discussion up here? Out there? Roll call.
Thompson,
Damn, you're going to win.
Yes?
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Okay. Our last discussion item is the BPW Park at 407 East Marion Street. Jeff Hubbard, you'll lead us off on this one.
Jeff Hubbard, Park and Rec Director. For $20, I can talk for 25 more minutes if you'd like, Mayor.
Okay.
Come on.
Sorry.
No, it has to be limited to $3. That's right. Sorry.
BPW, we put a couple parks on for sale. One was Lawrence Park, one was BPW. Lawrence has sold. It's been over a year and a couple months that BPW hasn't, and basically it's because of the easement that is needed for the sewer. So we're just wondering if it's in our best interest to keep the for sale sign out there and try and find somebody, or just let it go back to a park, and we'll keep on maintaining it like we have been for the last however many years. So.
Your Honor, if I may?
Hey, floor is open.
Jeff, personally, I'd like to see you take all the playground equipment off of it that's on there and reuse it, repurpose it at other parks, and keep it for sale. And hopefully, we'll have a tiny home village down there someday.
Well, I would say that the playground equipment is so old that if it gets taken out, it's not going to be usable anywhere else. So I could put some soccer goals out there and.
I'd say take it down to reduce the liability, and turn it into a vacant lot.
Jeff, is the equipment, is it unsafe or anything? It's just getting old?
It's not, and it's just getting old. I mean, I think if it was going to be on the 2026, 27 time to replace it, we have then, pushed it out and moved some other ones up, like Timber Creek and some others. So, I mean, it can get, I would probably put it, I think right now we have the last park being touched in 2029. So we could look at 2030 to do something with it, so it's fine.
I guess my druthers would be, let's keep it for sale, leave the playground equipment for the local kids, and keep the signs up, but don't plan on putting new playground equipment there. If we get lucky and someone does buy it, we can pull the equipment then.
And that was always our intent, was to leave everything up. We didn't pull the Lawrence stuff out until you guys approved the sale of it, so we were planning on doing that anyway at BPW, so.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Yes, I was wondering if it would be a possibility to change the criteria on the building site there at the playground, because I had somebody approach me and wanted to purchase the property and put it back into a park, and he would maintain it himself. And I was wondering if that would be a possibility.
I think part of the problem is when we put it out for bid, it had to be a duplex or a certain structure. So if we take away the limitations on it and someone wanted to buy it and maintain it as an empty grass lot to own or whatever, I don't have a problem with either or. I mean, I think if we all just want to get rid of it, do we care what's on it?
And I personally wouldn't care if somebody wanted to make their own garden plot or a community garden to compete with Gary, then so be it.
Thank you.
And I should point out that the property is zoned medium density residential, so it's not like it doesn't have certain limitations on it anyway. So if you're going to be buying it, you're under those limitations anyway. And community garden is included in, Gary, is included in medium density residential anyway. So.
We'll see how a smaller lot goes first.
I forgot the name of it, even though I was on the Park and Rec Committee when it was first formed about, a dozen years ago, or 15. But I drove past the one that's out on the west, just south of Summit, at about 24th Street.
Yeah, that was Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence Park. And that was taken over by one of the people that lived out there, and it was, when I drove by it the other day, it was maintained well enough and looked okay. Is that kind of what, right now?
I mean, if someone buys it, maybe they were going to build something on it, haven't got to it yet, and same thing, someone could buy it and wait 5 years to build something on it, they still have to mow it and maintain it like a normal resident would.
Your Honor, wouldn't they have some liability issues having a private park like that, potentially? I mean, that's what I'd be afraid of if I were the property owner, but I drive by there occasionally. I don't see many kids playing there, but I do see all sorts of kids at Mega 10, and then it seems like every time there's a field somewhere, that field's being used. So I wonder if your comment at the end of your introduction there was maybe we are better off removing the playground equipment and just making it a field with soccer goals or something. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Jeff? I mean, you visit the parks more than I do.
Well, that's one of the people who were interested in maintaining it as a park had said that they used to play soccer all the time there, and we've been putting soccer goals out at Optimist, Peterson, and Arnold, and I've heard from the CAPS people that say they see more kids out there now playing soccer than they were before with just the playground equipment. So there's plenty of room there to keep the play equipment until it is deemed unsafe. Put some soccer goals out there and let it still be used as a neighborhood park. I mean, if someone were to buy it, moving the soccer goals, putting them somewhere else isn't going to be hard work for anybody.
Yeah, and I'm
You wanna-
not saying don't sell it. I'm saying in the meantime, repurpose it possibly.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Yes, the individual that I was speaking of, that was his intent to put soccer goals out there as well as some playground equipment. So I would think that would be handicap accessibility, he said. And I think it'd be a real good thing and a real good thing to think about opening it up for something like that, something that will make it established place and it'll be kept up.
You know, I've never seen anybody on the playground equipment there when I've driven by.
Yeah.
Your Honor, if I may?
Yes, you may.
Can we just take the restrictions off of it and keep it for sale and just, because we want to get rid of these properties. They're not generating tax revenue for us. And I think, you know, we're at a point to where let's just get it sold, you know, like any other lot. And buyers, potential buyers would understand the easements through the middle. They're going to do their due diligence, you know, and if somebody wants to make a soccer field, just let them do it. I mean, or whatever they want to do.
If they just want to see a vacant lot and mow the grass and see a scenic view, whatever.
It's not on the tax rolls now.
So motion to take away the,
I would make a motion, Your Honor, to take away the housing restrictions that we have on it currently and just keep it for sale.
Second that.
Any public discussion on this one?
What's the list price on it?
I don't think there's a price on it. I think it's,
Microphone.
Oh, I thought I was going to ask you.
I don't know.
So this park, my name, sorry, Melissa Fonseca, 1201 South 3rd Ave. So this park, I grew up going to this park. I just looked it up, you know, Marion Street. I honestly never knew the name of it, but I think that is there not a possibility to make it because I think it has the same equipment that, you know, probably the same equipment that I used when I was 6 years old. I think that park was way closer to me than Peterson Park on the other side, especially it being a walkable distance from Swayze Street. And I know that there is, you know, renovation and at the Peterson Park, is that not a possibility, you know, for this park? Is there not a possibility for this park for that?
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Melissa, when we first discussed putting certain parks up for sale, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but if my memory serves me correctly, we felt that this park was underutilized and it was close enough to Riverview that just going down Fifth to get to Riverview, you know, kids riding bikes or whatever, that they would have more opportunities at Riverview than BPW. And then that's the decision, if I remember correctly, that why we put this out for sale.
Right, and how long has it been up for sale?
Oh, boy, a year and a half?
Understand the restrictions we put on the lot.
Right.
That we have the easements that run right through the middle. So you can't build in the middle of it. You'd be building on the west and east edges. So if we take the restrictions off, from what I'm hearing, we believe it's going to sell right away. Because someone can make an offer for $1 and get this. You know, we'll have a timeline and everything else. So you can own a big chunk of property for.
Right, and its intention for I don't know how many years, definitely over 20 years, it's been a park, and I think if, you know, that I think it's unrealistic for a 7-year-old to walk from Swayze Street or Lee Street or Union Street to Riverview Park. There's like no way. And that's what I lived, and that was the only park other than Woodbury Elementary. So, anyways, that's my point of view on that one. But I mean, if it didn't sell with those conditions back when it, you know, you guys listed it, then I now you know that reducing those restrictions might get you a buyer. I mean, so then the question is, then we won't know if it will be a park ever again after that. And is that something that is important to keep it a park?
I think the idea that we're struggling with at city-wide is it's a budgeting item. We have to
Yeah.
mow it. It's underutilized. You might have used it, but not everyone does. I drive by it probably every day.
Right.
And that if we're going to put resources into it, we'd be better off putting it into Riverview, the resources, where it'll be used, whereas if we put resources into here, it might not be as used, and then we still have the upkeep for it.
Yeah, and I think probably the look of it is why it's not being used, and the condition of it is why it's not being used, and why, parents decide to go drive to the Mega 10 or drive to the other prettier looking parks. And it's one of the parks in that neighborhood where a lot of my friends grew up in, and we all played at that. So I think, and at that point, the equipment was newer, and I mean, it is a budget decision, and I understand that. But the possibility of it being a park one day, I don't know. I guess it's not a possibility. But anyways, that's my just. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
Yes, the individual I was speaking of, he also grew up in the neighborhood, and that's one of the big things why he wants to buy it. And if he's successful at buying it, that is his intent, to keep it a park, keep it mowed, make it look good, and for the kids in the neighborhood. So I think it's a good idea to put it back on the market and get it sold to whoever we can get it sold to. Thank you.
You bet. I know we went through the same exercise about, a dozen years ago, 10 years ago, with French Park, where JBS needed the space for the cooling stations, so they agreed to then build the basketball court and the tennis court up at Riverside. Riverview, yeah. Well, I know it's a dying thing, tennis is, but not dying that fast. Although we probably ought to make that a pickleball court instead. But that was another neighborhood park in that area. Yes, sir.
Lonnie Hoagland again, 1408 East Main. I know the park well you're speaking of. It's like the gal said, it's kind of been deteriorated. Maybe needs a little more upkeep, so it's inviting to go there. Have you thought about reaching out to, I don't know how you acquired it. I don't know what BPW stands for. Where did it come from? Could you reach to the people and say, hey, do you want it back? How did we acquire it? And also one other little thing, I donated a hobby horse, seahorse, to Woodbury Elementary a while back in memory of my son. It got old. I saw it there all the time. It got dilapidated. Next thing I checked with the city, and they said, oh, we tore it up and threw it away. It got dilapidated. Quick phone call to the donator might not have been a bad idea.
BPW's park actually stands for Business and Professional Women's Organization. I think it was in the 40s that they were a group and they donated the land to the park. But that there was no one from that group around. It's not a group anymore. And I think given that it's been that long of time that their intentions are, that's kind of why we decided we could sell it, is they're no longer around. And so.
Other public discussion?
Doris Kinnick, 2020 Catalina Place. I agree with, as far as maintaining it as a park. I think it's important for children to be able to play in their neighborhood. And so I just propose that, whoever wants to buy it as a park, let's make it a park so the kids can play. Thank you.
I only think of one privately owned park in town that is well maintained and is just delightful, and that's the Gallery Garden downtown on Main Street.
Off of 12th Street, there's that playground equipment, just, I think it's called Jensen's Park or whatever they call it, that has all that playground equipment and stuff on it that's just basically mowed with with nice combo, whatever you call it, set. And it's just when you turn off of Olive Street, and it's about a block north of that.
We talking about Judge Park?
No. Judge Park's down the bottom of the hill. I'm talking about the very top of the hill. The equipment is set back about towards the back part of that lot, but look at it.
Well, any other discussion? I guess we have a motion pending. I've forgotten what it actually said, which is take the restrictions off, but not, it didn't include removing existing equipment or anything until then. Okay, let's call the question.
Schneider,
No.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kell,
No.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Okay, that one carried. Very good. With that being our last discussion item, it's 6:51 PM. You did win. We are adjourned. Thanks for coming. Sure, might have waited for dinner if I hadn't predicted it to go so.